Hello and welcome. I have entitled this video Finding the True Self. This will be another one of my perspective series. I have had many questions about opening of the third eye, or being more awakened than most of those around you. For me, I call it finding yourself. So I will attempt to give you some pointers or some insight that may help you understand where you are at with your awakening or awareness on your journey forward to finding the true self. This is why we are being prompted at this time to become more responsible. This means being aware of your thoughts and actions. This process is quite natural and is one of life's endeavors. And it's all about finding oneself. Also bearing in mind, this doesn't mean you are any better than your brother or sister. It simply is an integral part of your journey and your soul development. And not everyone is necessarily on the same schedule at the same time. For me, it was quite early in my 20s I started having these feelings and activations that really made me wonder who I was and where I was meant to be. And later on, I felt as if I was here before, in another lifetime, you might say. That was when I became aware of what I now know as my spirit guide. And I just felt I could trust this voice within me. So I just went with it. Now I will give you 4 steps to further clarify this process, and this may help guide you to finding your true self. For step 1, I would like to hand it over to my friend Matthew, who will look after this section. And then I will return for step number 2.
Number 1. The first thing you should know is, you do not have to follow the crowd, or go with the herd mentality. This is usually called universal values, or the expression of one's true self. This is what we call the herd mentality, or sheeple. This ends up being a fear, when people will go with preservation, sameness, or their comfort zone, and similarly, the moral code that has been put together by someone else is then imposed onto other people. This is so society can have control of human behavior, and this also limits our individuality and creativity, and then leads to a strict dogmatic approach to human behavior, and from there can make some individuals more rebellious. So if these dictatorial boundaries are too tyrannical and unreasonably harsh, the rebellious response can often be just as harsh. In more cases than not, morality is preached in a very tricky way, and this usually ends up by the majority of the people that do not wish to stand out from the crowd, of being in fear of being rejected. And again, I must make the point here, this is nobody's fault, as it all comes down to our programming. Payback for the individual that stands out a bit too much from the crowd is someone that seems terrifying and even dangerous to those who know him and not understand. You can start by soil testing those voices and questions that you have been asked from within. This also could have been from a parent or a harsh teacher or a narcissistic partner. It doesn't really matter who told you, you cannot do this. These things that you did, you only told them simply because they were afraid, and because it would expose everything that is bad about them. They wanted to limit your individuality. Stand your ground and hold your own peace. Be strong-minded and courageous. This will help you more than you know. I can now withstand the feeling, and can hold my own. I am stepping out of my comfort zone. It is your only hope of becoming who you really are, and to embrace the difficulty of your self-discovery, whereas no price is too high to pay for the privilege of being yourself.
What are the reactions you should be following to avoid any pain and ridicule of oneself, so you will know what to do to move ahead? We must all suffer on some level to be able to find ourselves. This only happens, of course, if we are willing to face these challenges that we have to eventually overcome. We need to take the difficult path in order to grow and move ahead with our inner development of the true self. This will change your life in so many ways and lead you to a state of isolation, which is really not a nice process, but this is one of the promises one must make for the privilege of owning one's self. To keep yourself from being overwhelmed by the tribe or the herd. This will include family and friends. You must learn to distance yourself and remain disciplined in not taking criticism or taunts to heart. This is all part of your striving to be free and experience life firsthand in a fully aware state of mind. You cannot claim you have lived your life. Challenge your own demons and experience all those temptations, and push yourself into situations and challenges you once were not sure of, and learn to build a trust within yourself. As you go further forward and deeper, you will build this trust and what is known as your intuition. Trust yourself and go with the flow. This I have talked about many times, and it is simply aligning your thoughts and actions to that of the universal harmony flow of balanced energy, in a relaxed confidence in that action. This is your intuition and trust in oneself. You will eventually come to feel and know. This is your challenge, to be one's self. No matter how frightening or off-putting it may be. This means also to be free from all psychological needs as well. So, in other words, for you to drive them and not let them drive you. Remember, you are the only one in charge of you and your destiny. No one else can do this for you. This is your responsibility to create your reality and trust within yourself, in the image and the way you pictured it to be. For creation is perfect, and if you are going to be the creator, you must first make your way to the top of the heap. You had that original aligned thought of what you wanted. So go and create without any hesitation or doubt. Self-empowerment is finding yourself, is finding your unique set of values and your true love that represents you. One more thing you should be aware of. You cannot be responsible for what anyone else says or indicates about you. That is their creation alone, and they must take responsibility for their own actions. Don't ever feel you need to be liable for what others say or what they do toward you. You again are the only one that can create from your image of yourself. And as long as you take responsibility, you are okay. And what others create is their responsibility, not yours. Thank you. I will now hand you over to Matthew for part 3. Enjoy.
Thank you. Number 3. Say yes. and accept what gives you meaning. In other words, if it feels good or resonates with you, and you can again trust the feeling you have developed within you, you can then go for it, as it was meant for you. Or as the saying goes, do what excites you the most, with the least amount of resistance, in order to achieve that confidence and peace within. Our humanity offers us the ability to compartmentalize our sufferings. These efforts are a chance to see our lives as not so different from those around us. We can learn to study other outlets to help us work on more meaningful attributes for living a fruitful life, instead of focusing too much on the negative or death side of life. For instance, looking at history or the arts, along with a study of ancient wisdom and teachings, for example, the meaning of life. But more for the entertainment value, and looking into them for changes and solutions to moving forward, and for your bettering life purpose. This will also help you build on the uniqueness of the true you, creating your own meanings and set of values, without references to any outside influences, or because society told you so. This is how an individual can overcome the meaning of life, by simply creating his own meaning, and taking full responsibility for it, and looking inward for answers. This is where we can value the things we really like, and not just say, we value and like, and not be told by society how it is. This is what number 3 is all about. Learning to think for oneself, and not be told how and what to think. Have the foresight and confidence to say what you mean, and mean what you say. Love your life, no matter what you have in it. When you live life like everything matters, you will simply find that you matter too. Each day we are born again, so what we do today matters the most. I cannot create an experience of, or for, another, nor can I be responsible for what you create from your reality that is unique to you. And you cannot force or create for another. Again, it is you that must take responsibility for oneself. To love your fate is to know that everything that has happened in your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, has all contributed to who you are at this very moment in time. Take everything into consideration, as it was all meant for you to heal and grow. Thank you. Pete will now clarify and finish up for you.
This is number 4, and this will be your last call to action. Have you righted all those wrongs and mistakes? You should see in a newer light, and creating a new you that has indeed grown and moved on past the herd, letting go of all ties you had with things and people that were constantly at you and criticizing your every move. Have you now found that inner peace of knowing who you are and where and what your next goal is to be. Have you indeed learnt your lessons from the past and looked and focused more inward to achieve the oneness and to consolidate and to realize power you always had lying dormant within, and being conscious in knowing you are part of the all, feeling the confidence of working and being the one on the one with the one, now taking charge of your own destiny and future self. Now knowing you are the creator and the savior in your own right of your existence. And also knowing that your aligned vibration is not only healing you, but healing the whole of humanity, and in turn contributing to raising the frequency of the earth itself. This will all be achieved by you working toward your balanced energy. This all starts and finishes with you. Now, questions to ask yourself. Here are a few examples that may help you evaluate your values. Then and only then will you know for sure if you have indeed found yourself. Are you still in a relationship that is controlling and giving you grief? This would be a sure sign you have not accepted your true self. You are still playing the games with the herd. Are you still feeling a bit trapped and not sure of some decisions you have made, and or not quite confident in what you have taken on? Again, you are still getting drawn into the herd mentality. These actions are known as a weight on your finding yourself. And this again needs to be addressed and reevaluated in order to have that weight to be lifted, so you can once again obtain your freedom. This is possibly one of the biggest achievements and goals to reach in your lifetime. Most of us live our lives in a self-imposed jail, or jail cells are blandly resubscribed social benefits that captivate the wildness and individualism of the human spirit. Many of us submit to this comfort of the cage, and we need to recognize that we can escape this enclosure of forced beliefs and awaken ourselves to what we value the most personally. To break free and create your own personal values and be letting go and pushing yourself into this transition. You have to go through this rebellious stage if you want to find your true self. For some, such as myself, it has been a natural, ongoing process. However, it can still be quite a challenge, but one that must be met to obtain the fulfillment and power you will deserve to claim. And even though it is an individual effort, one must realize that everything in your reality starts and finishes with you. And from there, that energy is then mirrored outward to the collective. And a final point I need to clarify is this is all part of your soul development and also relates to your frequency and coming into balance with the all to which you are part of. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you move on to knowing who you really are and finding yourself. Please ask questions in the comments below if needed. I am only too happy to answer them for you if I can for more clarification. Much love from Pete. Love and light.